Friedrich Nietzsche was a German philosopher, cultural critic, and writer who lived from 1844 to 1900. He is best known for his critiques of traditional moral values, religion, and the concept of truth, as well as his exploration of the nature of power and the individual's pursuit of self-realization. One of Nietzsche's notable ideas is the concept of the eternal recurrence, also known as the eternal return or eternal recurrence of the same. This concept is introduced in his book Thus Spoke Zarathustra, where it is presented as a thought experiment. While the idea of the eternal recurrence is a significant theme in Nietzsche's Thus Spoke Zarathustra, it is not the sole focus of the book. Thus Spoke Zarathustra is a complex work that explores various philosophical and existential themes through the character of Zarathustra. This video is specifically centered on the exploration and interpretation of the eternal recurrence. Plan is to create a separate video in the future to delve into the broader themes and ideas explored in Thus Spoke Zarathustra. The idea of the eternal recurrence suggests that the universe and all events within it have occurred, are recurring, and will continue to recur in an infinite cycle. Nietzsche poses the question of whether an individual would be willing to live their life again, exactly as it is, for all eternity, with all the joys and sorrows, triumphs and failures, and the same choices and actions. According to Nietzsche, the acceptance of the eternal recurrence is the ultimate test of a person's affirmation of life. It challenges individuals to embrace their lives with all its consequences, without regrets or longing for an alternative existence. Nietzsche believed that those who fully embraced the eternal recurrence would live life with great intensity and a sense of eternal significance, for every action and decision would carry immense weight. The concept of the eternal recurrence serves as a provocative and existential idea in Nietzsche's philosophy. It is not meant to be taken as a literal description of the universe's workings, but rather as a thought experiment to provoke contemplation and self-reflection. Nietzsche saw the eternal recurrence as a means to affirm life in its totality and to encourage individuals to take responsibility for their own existence. It's important to note that Nietzsche's philosophy is complex and multifaceted, and the interpretation and understanding of his ideas have been subject to various interpretations and debates among scholars. In Friedrich Nietzsche's book Thus Spoke Zarathustra, the idea of the eternal recurrence is introduced through the character of Zarathustra, a wandering philosopher who delivers speeches and teachings to the people. In the prologue of the book, Zarathustra descends from his mountain retreat after 10 years of solitude, seeking to share his wisdom with humanity. He proclaims the death of God and emphasizes the need for individuals to create their own values and meaning in a world that has lost its traditional moral foundations. In one of Zarathustra's speeches, he tells a parable known as the Vision and the Riddle. The Vision and the Riddle is a parable within Nietzsche's book where the character Zarathustra recounts his encounter with a demon who introduces him to the concept of the eternal recurrence. The parable serves as a vehicle for exploring the profound implications of this idea. In The Vision and the Riddle, Zarathustra describes a vision he had during his solitude on the mountains. He sees a tightrope walker traversing a dangerous rope suspended high above the ground. The tightrope walker represents the individual who is striving to live a meaningful life, balancing between the abyss of nothingness and the possibilities of existence. As the tightrope walker successfully completes his journey, Zarathustra exclaims, "The tightrope walker is the perfect human being. He moves with beauty across the abyss." Shortly after this vision, a demon appears to Zarathustra and poses a riddle. The demon asks, "What is the heaviest burden?" Zarathustra suggests various answers, such as guilt, failure, and the burden of one's own existence. However, the demon reveals that the heaviest burden is the concept of the eternal recurrence. The demon challenges Zarathustra to consider whether he would be willing to bear the weight of living his life again, exactly as it is, for all eternity. Initially, Zarathustra reacts with horror and repulsion, finding the idea unbearable. the eternal recurrence forces individuals to confront the possibility that their lives, with all their joys and sorrows, their triumphs and regrets, will be repeated infinitely. The thought of reliving all the pain and suffering is overwhelming. However, as the parable progresses, Zarathustra undergoes a transformation in his understanding. He realizes that the eternal recurrence is not merely a burden but also a test and an opportunity. Through accepting the eternal recurrence, individuals have the chance to affirm and embrace their lives fully, without reservation. It becomes a call to live authentically and to make the most of each moment. Zarathustra ultimately embraces the idea, declaring his affirmation of the eternal recurrence. He recognizes that those who fully accept and embrace the eternal recurrence will live with a sense of eternal significance. Every action, choice, and decision takes on immense weight and meaning, as they have consequences that reverberate throughout eternity. The vision and the riddle serves as a pivotal moment in Nietzsche's exploration of the eternal recurrence. It challenges individuals to confront their fears, to take responsibility for their existence, and to affirm life in its entirety, regardless of its hardships. The parable highlights the transformative power of accepting the eternal recurrence and living with an unwavering affirmation of life. Zarathustra presents the concept as a test of the individual's ability to embrace life in its entirety, including its suffering and challenges. He argues that only those who can accept and affirm the eternal recurrence can truly experience the fullness of life and achieve a state of self-overcoming. It is through the acceptance of this idea that individuals can transcend their limitations and achieve a higher level of existence. Throughout the book, Nietzsche further explores the implications of the eternal recurrence and its significance for human life. He emphasizes the importance of living in the present moment, of embracing both the joyous and painful aspects of existence, and of embracing personal responsibility for one's actions. The concept of the eternal recurrence serves as a powerful existential challenge, inviting individuals to confront their fears, transcend their limitations, and affirm life in its totality. In the section titled "The Convalescent" in Nietzsche's Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Zarathustra encounters a sickly man who is burdened by guilt, suffering, and a sense of despair. Zarathustra takes it upon himself to teach the man about the concept of the eternal recurrence and its implications for finding meaning in life. The sickly man, who represents a person weighed down by his past and the weight of his suffering, is initially reluctant to listen to Zarathustra. He expresses his despair, believing that life is meaningless and filled with pain. However, Zarathustra challenges him to reconsider his perspective. Zarathustra introduces the concept of the eternal recurrence, suggesting that the sickly man should be willing to embrace the suffering and struggles of his life, as well as all the joy and happiness, as part of an eternal cycle that repeats endlessly. Zarathustra presents this idea as an opportunity for growth and self-transcendence. The sickly man, still struggling with his pain, questions whether he could bear living his life again and again, with all its suffering and anguish. Zarathustra acknowledges that the idea of the eternal recurrence is heavy and burdensome, but he insists that embracing it allows one to find meaning and significance even in the face of adversity. Zarathustra encourages the sickly man to view his suffering not as a punishment but as an opportunity to cultivate strength and resilience. He urges him to see himself as a participant in the eternal recurrence, someone who can affirm and embrace life in its totality. By accepting the eternal recurrence, the sickly man is challenged to confront his fears, take responsibility for his actions, and actively create meaning and value in his existence. The convalescent serves as a powerful dialogue between Zarathustra and the sickly man, exploring the transformative potential of the eternal recurrence. It illustrates Nietzsche's belief that embracing life's suffering and joys, as part of an eternal cycle, can lead to a sense of affirmation, growth, and self-overcoming. Through this encounter, Nietzsche emphasizes the importance of finding meaning and purpose in life, even amidst the most challenging circumstances. In the section titled The Greatest Weight in Nietzsche's book, Zarathustra speaks to his disciples about the concept of the heaviest burden that humans can bear, which is revealed to be the idea of the eternal recurrence. Zarathustra gathers his disciples and presents them with a question: what is the heaviest burden? The disciples offer various answers, such as guilt, failure, and the burden of one's own existence. However, Zarathustra unveils the answer: the heaviest burden is the thought of the eternal recurrence. Zarathustra explains that the eternal recurrence challenges individuals to confront the vastness of time and the repetition of all events in an infinite cycle. It requires them to consider whether they would be willing to live their lives again and again, with all their joys and sorrows, their triumphs and regrets, for all eternity. Zarathustra emphasizes the magnitude of this burden, as it requires individuals to fully embrace their lives with all their consequences, without regrets or longing for an alternative existence. The eternal recurrence demands that individuals affirm and accept every aspect of their lives, recognizing the eternal significance of their actions and choices. While initially, the disciples struggle with the weight of this idea, Zarathustra encourages them to develop the strength and courage necessary to bear this burden. He argues that those who can affirm the eternal recurrence will live with great intensity and a sense of eternal significance. Every moment and decision will carry immense weight, as they have consequences that reverberate throughout eternity. Zarathustra sees the acceptance of the eternal recurrence as the ultimate test of a person's affirmation of life. It challenges individuals to confront their fears, transcend their limitations, and take full responsibility for their existence. By embracing the eternal recurrence, individuals have the opportunity to rise above the mundane and live with a sense of purpose and greatness. The Greatest Weight serves as a profound reflection on the concept of the eternal recurrence and its implications. It highlights Nietzsche's belief in the transformative power of accepting and affirming the totality of one's life, even in the face of its heaviest burdens. Through this dialogue, Nietzsche invites his readers to confront the weight of existence and strive for a life of self-affirmation and meaning. In the section titled The Sign in Nietzsche's Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Zarathustra encounters a wanderer who is burdened by the weight of the past. Zarathustra teaches the wanderer about the concept of the eternal recurrence and its implications for living in the present. The wanderer laments his past failures and mistakes, feeling trapped by the weight of his history. He longs to escape the burden of his past and find redemption. Zarathustra, recognizing the wanderer's struggle, imparts his wisdom. Zarathustra introduces the idea of the eternal recurrence, suggesting that the wanderer should not dwell in the past, but rather embrace the present moment. He challenges the wanderer to imagine his life repeating itself exactly as it is, with all its successes and failures, joys and sorrows, for all eternity. By contemplating the eternal recurrence, Zarathustra encourages the wanderer to view each moment as significant and to live fully in the present. Rather than being weighed down by the past, the eternal recurrence calls individuals to accept and affirm their lives in their entirety. Zarathustra presents the eternal recurrence as a sign, a transformative concept that enables individuals to break free from the chains of the past. By embracing the idea, the wanderer can transcend his regrets and failures, recognizing that each moment offers an opportunity for growth and self-realization. Zarathustra emphasizes the importance of the present moment, urging the wanderer to seize the opportunities of the here and now. He teaches the wanderer to view the eternal recurrence as a liberating force, empowering him to live authentically and create his own values. The sign serves as a dialogue that highlights Nietzsche's belief in the power of the eternal recurrence to free individuals from the burden of the past. It encourages individuals to live with a heightened sense of awareness, fully engaged in the present moment, and open to the possibilities it holds. By embracing the eternal recurrence, one can find liberation from the shackles of regret and embrace a life of authenticity and significance. Nietzsche's idea of the eternal recurrence serves multiple purposes and conveys several key messages. Affirmation of life. Nietzsche saw the eternal recurrence as a means to affirm life in its totality. By accepting the idea of living one's life again and again, individuals are encouraged to embrace all aspects of existence, including both the joyful and the painful. It challenges individuals to affirm their lives without regrets or longing for an alternative existence. Overcoming nihilism. Nietzsche believed that traditional moral and religious frameworks had lost their power and that the modern world was plagued by nihilism, a sense of meaninglessness. The eternal recurrence acts as a powerful antidote to nihilism by providing individuals with the opportunity to create their own values and meaning in the face of an indifferent universe. It challenges individuals to find significance in the here and now. Responsibility and self-overcoming. Nietzsche emphasized the importance of personal responsibility and self-overcoming. The eternal recurrence calls individuals to take responsibility for their actions, choices, and their own existence. It challenges them to strive for personal growth and transformation, as each decision and action carries eternal consequences. Intensity and greatness. Nietzsche believed that the acceptance of the eternal recurrence would lead individuals to live their lives with great intensity and a sense of eternal significance. Every moment becomes precious, as it is not merely a fleeting experience but part of an eternal cycle. It inspires individuals to live passionately, to embrace their desires, and to pursue greatness. Transcending limitations. The eternal recurrence challenges individuals to confront their fears and limitations. By embracing the idea, individuals are invited to transcend their weaknesses and become the best versions of themselves. It encourages them to push beyond their comfort zones, to confront their deepest desires, and to strive for self-realization. Overall, Nietzsche's idea of the eternal recurrence serves as a powerful existential challenge and a call to action. It asks individuals to face the ultimate question of whether they can affirm and embrace the totality of their lives, with all its joys and sorrows, and find meaning and purpose within that embrace. The concept of the eternal recurrence plays a prominent role in the book, as it serves as a means for Nietzsche to challenge individuals to confront their existence and affirm life in its entirety. It acts as a test of one's ability to create meaning and values in a world that is no longer grounded in traditional beliefs. The eternal recurrence is one of the tools Zarathustra employs to provoke thought, inspire personal transformation, and challenge the prevailing nihilism of his time. While the eternal recurrence is a profound and recurring concept and thus spoke Zarathustra, it should be viewed as part of a larger philosophical exploration rather than the sole focus of the book. It is one of the many ideas Nietzsche presents to encourage individuals to grapple with the fundamental questions of existence and forge their own paths towards self-realization and meaning.